Well, I hope there's a lot of this going on. That's a new flop. No, it's I know obviously that game last year we ran over some guys at least 5 times, and we're going to try not to do that this time. We're going to try to get around guys without running through them. But so the kid's a good defensive player now. He, I don't know if you go back and look at that tape. I think he showed the referees on a couple of those charges that he drew that were questionable, but certainly we've moved on, and we're not going to concentrate on that. We're going to try to do better and try not to run over guys.
But you got a home crowd this year, so maybe that might be a little bit of a deterrent, right?
Well, I mean, we've got to do a good job of moving the ball and putting ourselves in situations where we don't draw charges. As a team, they do a good job drawing charges. They're a good team. They play with their heels on the three-point line or toes on the three-point line, and they kind of pack it in, not Virginia style, but similar to that, and they step in and take charges. They're always in the right place, and so we've got to do a good job of driving and going off of 2 feet instead of going off of one leg, and hopefully we won't get those calls.
Have you ever had to practice then practice?
No, but we
practice not taking charges.
Devin, we have with Gavin Daniels. When you look at him last year, a lot of teams drew charges on him because he's a one-leg leaper, and so we have done a lot of stuff this summer and also in practice, making sure that he goes off 2 feet and avoiding the contact.
What did you take away from Memphis? The part where you fell behind, or the part where you came back?
I think that's we took a lot from it. It was weird, man. It was 2 different teams. When you look at the first half, it was a great game, and then you look into the last 6 minutes of the first half, I thought we had complete blown assignments and ball screen coverage. The game really changed when we had to take DJ and Manny out of the game, and then they kind of blew it open before half. Gave up 55 points, which is not what we want to do. But the encouraging thing is our second half was so great. We held them to 28 points. We shared the basketball. We got our big guys back in the game and had our chances to win the game at the end. So it was 2 different halves. I don't want to see the first half ever again, but I'm encouraged by the second half, and hopefully we can build on that.
You've had almost a full week now to work and practice. What are some of the things that you have concentrated on during that time?
Well, I just think getting back, guys starting to play together a little bit more. What was encouraging about when we got down, you don't know much about your team early in the season, how they will react being down. That was the first time that we were down at least 16, 17 points. What was encouraging that our guys stayed together, and through every timeout, we would tell them, hey, you're back in the game. You don't have to take some of those shots. You have to take some chances when you get down that much. And we said, hey, stay the course. So I think the biggest thing for our guys is just putting them in situations where we've done some situation stuff up, 15, down 15. How do we play? How do we handle it? Those type of things can win you the games.
Nationally, Wisconsin's a sexy team, I guess you could say, but they've been really good through the years, haven't they? And people don't realize, I guess, how good they've been in the past.
Well, he's done a great job. When you look at that program, and I think this is his 5th or 6th years, he's done a really good job, and he took over for a really good coach. They're a good basketball team. I know they didn't have a good weekend, but you can say that about a lot of teams in the program. Around the country about the way they played in these tournaments. But I go back to the Marquette game. Marquette, who's a good program, as we watched those guys, they played extremely well against those guys. They won at home. They haven't been shooting the ball well, and we hope that continues, but certainly they're a very capable team, and they're a dangerous team. Really good team. Revis is playing at a high level. He's 7 feet. He's tough to guard. Of course, Davidson's a very good player. They got good guards. They post your guards. They're a tough team to prepare for.
Do you feel like Markel's really hitting his stride right now?
I think he's playing well. What I wonder about a little bit is, his conditioning. I thought he played well up until the last 2 or 3 minutes of the game, where I thought he made couple mistakes that he normally wouldn't make, and a lot of that because I think he got tired. With a short bench, I got to figure out, how to get him and C.J. Bryce some breaks every now and then, and that may be even putting in a couple walk-ons just for a few minutes just to give those guys some breaks.
One of the nice things about college basketball is the extremes. You play Memphis, who scores 55.5. Wisconsin, who scores 50 against New Mexico for the game. Is it going to be different going from one type of style to another
Well, that's college basketball. That's the ACC. That's what we get in our league. You'll play against a high-scoring team. You'll play Duke and Carolina who run, and then you got to play against a really good Virginia team that you have low possession. So we're kind of used to that. College basketball, man. I know you guys have been watching. It's crazy now, and on any given night, man, you can beat anybody and you can lose anybody. When you look at the 2 games last night, man, what crazy games they were. Miami, you thought they were going to win by 50, and then all of a sudden it's a 2-point game at the end, and then Minnesota led the entire time and they kept the lead, and it was crazy. But this challenge is always exciting. It's exciting for just individually because you get a chance to play against a high major team, a Power 5 team. But you also get a little bragging rights because of our conference, and obviously we feel that the ACC is the #1 conference in the country, and certainly we look forward to these challenges.
Is there bragging rights for the kids too? I mean, do they have a sense of pride in this thing?
I think so. I have to remind my staff all the time that kids don't think the way we do. Things have changed. Like everybody's asking me, well, man, are these kids so excited about playing Wisconsin again because they remember last year? And I'll tell you, no, kids don't remember last week. As coaches, we do. But I think the kids are excited because we got a good opponent. They're excited to be back home. But I don't know that they're just getting pumped up just because it's the ACC Big Ten Challenge.
In your opinion, what is the difference of the style of play between the ACC and the Big Ten, and why these 2 conferences, put on such a great show when they have this?
Yeah, I don't think it's a big difference in style because I think you can find a Big Ten team to play similar to any ACC team, and the same vice versa. I just think it's a really good conference. It's been a great conference for many years, and I'm excited that our ACC, that we partner up with those guys and have a challenge because it's great. It's great for your resume. You have an opportunity to win a great game. If you look back at us last year, we played Penn State, and a couple of years ago we played Penn State, and then as you move on, last year was Wisconsin. So those are good games early in the season that you already know that you have scheduled.
Memphis was a tough matchup for Pat. Does this almost feel like a clay court specialist for you to get the chance at Wisconsin?
It was a tough matchup for Pat. The toughest thing is, I know you guys remember this, is I don't know who he was passing the ball to in that corner over there when he threw that pass. But it was tough. Memphis is a tough matchup for a lot of our guys. We knew going into the game they were a paint touch team. But you can't simulate that in practice, especially with the guys that we have. And they did a tremendous job of just driving us. And certainly we hope that we don't get that from Wisconsin. But I expect Pat to bounce back. We need him. He's a guy that can score the basketball. Couldn't play him as much in the Memphis game because of defensive breakdowns, but certainly, hopefully he can contribute in this game.
Good. Thanks, Alex. Appreciate you. Good luck.
Spectacular Magazine. We on the scene.